What's up guys, it's Will back again, and today's review is the historical drama film The Post. Directed by Steven Spielberg, The Post takes place in the early 1970s where the Washington Post newspaper finds themselves in a tough dilemma. They come across leaked papers from the Pentagon containing classified documents that would expose government corruption regarding the Vietnam War. The law prohibits them from publishing the papers under the Espionage Act, but the Post is at a crossroads. Publish the papers and expose government secrets, or keep the papers and don't publish them to remain within the bounds of the law. Alright, so I'm not sure what's going on here because there's been several films in 2017 and early 2018 that have gotten a ton of praise from other critics that I just didn't like at all. And sadly, The Post falls within that same category. I found this film to be boring, often unfocused, and sort of meandering its way from scene to scene or historical event to historical event without much emotion, or even drama for that matter. I was kind of hoping that The Post would be the next Spotlight, a story that discusses corruption and the pursuit of truth and justice, and does so in a compelling way that also develops the characters individually. But The Post just doesn't do any of those things particularly effectively. What you end up with is a film that has large ambitions, but isn't actually able to fully bring them to pass. The biggest selling point of The Post, well, selling points really, are Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks. And while they aren't necessarily bad in this movie, they're not particularly good either. But the thing is, I don't lay the blame at either of the feet of these actors because in Meryl Streep's case, she's just not given a lot to do or a lot to work with really. For Tom Hanks, his character is a bland newsroom executive who has very little personality. This is certainly a waste of these two actors' abilities by putting them in bland roles, sure, but I don't particularly feel that they did much themselves to make the characters more interesting either. And Bob Odenkirk's in this movie, David Cross is in this movie, lots of other good actors you've seen before are in this movie, but none of them are memorable. Certainly not on the level you would expect considering this is a film with two A-list leads and an A-list director. There's nothing about The Post that connects you with the characters in a meaningful way. And I will say that a big reason for this is probably because the stakes just aren't fully fleshed out. They constantly talk about how the press is under attack and how Nixon and the White House will silence all critics, but you don't ever get to see anything bad come to fruition. Sure, the New York Times gets silenced and prison is mentioned a few times, but nothing bad ever happens to these characters in their pursuit of justice. And since it never feels like they're in any real danger, it's almost impossible to feel worried for them. A lot of times when I mention pacing issues, I talk about how a film can feel like a collection of scenes and not a cohesive story. That's how The Post feels. I think sometimes the historical drama films can come, dangerously close to feeling like a documentary and not a drama film. That's what The Post does. It never quite manages to make it entertaining and also dramatic at the same time for the majority of the film. I think The Post is better at giving you a rundown of the events that transpired and of course the key figures at play during this time period and in this story than it is being an entertaining drama film. That's where Spotlight and The Post differ and separate, and that's a pretty big differentiation. But with that said, I don't claim to know how accurate this movie is, but I do believe that Spielberg did a pretty good job making the entire experience look and feel 1970s. I did feel immersed in the setting, and like I was in the 1970s watching a battle between the government and the media take place. I thought the colors were flat and looked very 70s, the outfits and houses all look 70s as well, and generally I do think that sense of atmosphere is there, but the story isn't high quality enough to seamlessly mesh with it. I think The Post tries to say something important. It tries to help those out who've lost faith in the media recently regain that faith by reminding them of some of the media's heroics back in the 70s. But sadly, for a film to be effective and impactful, you need more than a vision and a message. You need quality drama, you need entertainment, and you need a story that's cohesive. And The Post just doesn't have those things. But as for the pros cons, I thought The Post had a nice cast with a lot of good actors and a strong 70s look and feel. As for the cons, I thought the characters were very forgettable, the stakes don't feel fully realized, the film feels like a collection of historical events and not a cohesive story, and it's just kind of a boring movie. I'm going to give The Post a 5 out of 10 and recommend you pass on this one in theaters. Sadly, this was another major disappointment for me. So did you guys see The Post yet? What did you think of it? And if not, let me know why not. And also let me know your favorite Steven Spielberg film. Lots to choose from that are sadly better than this one. That's all for now though. This is Will Foxification signing off. See you in the next review.